Hero's pose is the pose for knees. Now sit sideways with the ankles stretched back. And I know sometimes for knee thingies, that is just not a happy place to be. And that's perfectly fine. So there, I want to show you another variation today, Sally, for this pose to create the same. So I'm going to see everybody else comes into Virasana. In Sukhasana, because what Hero's pose does, it opens up the knee joint. So when you sit in Sukhasana, you can take a strap in between the back of the thighs. So I'm having this, I have it folded over, and now I can open up this joints here manually by pulling the straps apart. So that will, and you have to do it on each side. You can put washcloth in here too in Virasana, or a small, I was going to say a small animal, but that probably PETA would be fussing over that one. But anything that will help open up the space so that the tibia and femur doesn't bang together. In Virasana, of course, height too can be helpful. And that can be several blocks. I always think of the chair that was really popular, the office chair that was popular, I want to say a couple of decades ago, where you sat in Virasana. What this pose does very well is balance the pelvis. So that it's actually often more comfortable to sit like this if you're going to be sitting for a long period of time, because we can now maintain this upright posture. Go back to your toesies and to make sure that 10 toenails are reclined on the floor. Just resting down, sleeping toes. And also that your feet, I should say, are straight back, not sickling in. So stretch your pinky toes out to the sides a little bit. And then there, with comfort, we'll center. And if you decide that this is just not your happy place, then switch. More pain is just more pain. Now, as you sit on your sits bones, sensing them right on the top, so you're neither, we can take a little journey in there, overarching the spine, or rounding. So it's like a little cat and cow pose, back and forth. And then come to sit where the pelvis feels really balanced, really balanced. Draw the lower abdomen in and up. And then lift the sternum as if there is a balloon held underneath it, just rising up, but without overarching the low back. So sometimes that is a tendency. Lifting, I'll come to the side, we lift the sternum, but then we jam the back again. So stay centered on the sits bones, but let the sternum float up. Let's roll the shoulders up and down the back. And then there's that teeny little softening or tucking, if you will, of the chin. So the gaze is more down rather than straight forward. And the top of the skull keeps rising up. There's another balloon, lifting upward, floating upward. So having these two energies in our body, grounding the feet, the shins, the sits bones, but then space and lift up through the spine. Let the belly expand on the in-breath. So diaphragmatic breathing is the breath that governs Muladhara, the root chakra. As you breathe in and out, and if you're not sure that you are using the diaphragm, just place one hand on your lower abdomen and then feeling the breath, the belly expand on the in-breath, and then drawing back towards the spine on the out breath. Let the breath be steady. Ground it. As you breathe in, bring the breath low so that it draws all the way down to the pubic bone, into the pelvis. There's a sense of even the legs are expanding a little bit on the in-breath. This is a grounding breath, deeply calming for the nervous system. A great antidote to anxiety, which is the opposite of being grounded. On the next in-breath, if your eyes are closed, I invite you to open them. And let's do our opening stretches. A little bit more space and lifting up. Interlace the fingers. Draw the palms towards the sky, but let the chin soften down towards the chest. Yes, keeping the elbows straight and however high they come, so that let there be comfort wherever it is, wherever that might be. And then let's side bend to the right. And we can take one arm up and do that. So whether you have both arms up or just one, taking care of the body, inhaling up. Let's go to the other side, whatever that means. It's more about opening the side ribs and inhaling up. And let's twist to the right. Returning up to center, to the left. And draw back up. Reach and take the hands down. Just bring the legs out in front. And shake out the legs. And just notice your sits bones, your legs on the floor as we sit. And of course, it is time for our footwork. So let's take the right foot in. First week of the month, all week long. Of course, you are encouraged to do this more than just the first week of the month with me. Let's rest a foot on top. Take your opposite hand, slide the fingers in between the toes. And let's see what the ankle feels like today, circling. Circling. So while the ankle is not a socket ball joint, it is a hinge joint. It has a lot more mobility than the knee joint, which is much more just a straight hinge. Let's twist the foot from side to side. But there is so much mobility in the foot itself that if the ankle was a pure hinge joint, it wouldn't be able to negotiate all that information from the feet. Now let's do the squeeze the toes around the fingers around the toes. And if you like that extra little squeezer from the other hand, having at it. And let's relax that hand. And then slowly relax the toes, slowly relax the toes. And then traction the foot long so the other hand is still engaged. Spread the fingers and release. And then let's take your right hand and hold big toe and the other 3 toes next to it to the sides. I'm going to take the pinky toe and it's going to get a little bit of a tuck and a pull. So first I'm separating the pinky toe away from the herd and then rock and roll. Let's separate the second toe away from the remainder of the herd and give that a little tuck and roll. And go all the way across to the big toe. So each toe gets its own little day. Once we get to the big toe, now let's take the right hand, grab onto it, and just give it a good stir. Keeping this joint mobile. Let's take the fingers to the bottom of the foot and go for a little walk. So thumbs up and down. Walk, 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 breaking up any stickiness in the fascia. So sometimes I also ask you to do the squeezer. The other thing you can do is simply grab onto both sides, each side of the foot, not both sides, and just sort of wiggle back and forth. Kind of like you're thinking if you were doing a paper clip, except you're not looking to break this, but again, we want all of these bones to slide and glide. From here, let's grab onto the heel and give the heel pad a wiggle. And take the leg out and the pinch and pull on the calves. Pinch and pull. On down and up, and then moving on to the hamstring. So getting our legs ready for the practice. And let's see. Relax your right leg out. And just notice how that now feels as it rests on the floor compared to the left. Are you sitting maybe a little lower? You're listening. I hope this was a happy event for your right leg and not like, don't ever do that again. Let's do the left. The reason that I do this every month, or one of the reasons, is to check in with our feet, the root of our tree. Let's slide the fingers in, web to web, and do the ankle circles again. When we wear shoes, and especially if the shoes are not very pliable, our feet do not go through their mobility, and we lose that fine tuning and sensation of our feet, which in turn affects how the motor cortex relates to our feet. Now let's traction the toes up and down. Watch people walk. Watch their relationship with their feet. When we lose that connection, we begin to look down when we walk. We begin to shuffle. That is not a good thing. That alone will begin to age you. We stoop because we're fearful of falling, and we are more likely to fall. Squeeze, toes around fingers, fingers around toes. And then again, maybe the top baker, the whole bit wraps around, gets a good squeeze. Your brain is not in doubt that you have toes in the foot right now. They are right there. Relax the top hand, relax the toes, relax the toes. And then traction. Get everything a little bit longer in the foot, spread the fingers and release. And then I'm going to pull the main hurt out of the way and then grab the pinky toe. I don't know if y'all are watching All Creatures Great and Small, but I'm having such a delightful trip down memory lane. I watched it when I was a kid, James Herriot, a vet in Yorkshire, England, and they just released a whole new set. They re-recorded the whole bit. It's just lovely. It's quite lovely. So, just pure nostalgia. But that's what I think about my feet. It's a little herd of toes, and I got to tend to every one of them. One ain't happy, the whole herd is unhappy. Let's just move our way across, spread. And eventually, you will have arrived at the big toe who gets a big treatment. And then here, take the thumbs to the bottom, walk it up and down, around and around. Does everything look healthy on your feet? Remember, you know what I'm going to say, we die from our feet up. So do they look happy and healthy? Give the heel a wiggle, wiggle. And then calves. Thumbs behind the knee, pinch and pull all the way down. Pinch and pull, pinch and pull. So you're not here to take hostages, right? You're here to friend, but firmly so. And then let's take care of the hamstring. Hamstrings crosses the knee joint. The gastroc crosses the knee joint and the ankle joint. The soleus, the muscles below the gastroc calf muscle, also crosses the ankle. So now we sort of prep the whole bit. Let's release down and do everything as a whole just feels a little bit more relaxed and released. Now let's come on to our back body. Let's have a strap nearby. And as always, do support your head if the chin is pulling away. Now, the first thing you may want to do before you take a blanket on is simply take your hands to the skull, lift the head slightly, and then tip the head forward and orient your chin more down towards the chest. With a forward head posture, the back of the neck gets really congested, and next thing we know, discs are traveling in manners that are not comforting. That's not the right word. That hurts. Let's draw the legs together and take the arms either out to the sides or overhead. And let's stretch. Press out through the heels, through the fingertips. Get as long as you can and relax. And let's do that again. Exhale, extending out through the heels, through the palms. And relax. So full body stretch. Extending, and then let the arms just relax however it is comfortable for the ankle pumping. So exhale and pump, 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 pump. Pause as you breathe into the belly. And again, pump. Keep the legs together so that your big toes are touching. The insides of the big toes are touching. 3 breaths. Pump, 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 pump. Getting the fascia seam on the back body released. And then let's do the ankle circles. Again, keep the sides of your big toes and the big toe mount touching as you turn the feet around and around, and you'll notice your body might follow along with that too. Pause on the in-breath, switch direction, and circle. Pause and alternate to the other side. So we did the first part was, we did it, there was a passive movement from the ankle. Now we are asking the muscles of the ankle to do the work. 3 times each direction. And after you complete, slide the arms out to the sides. And pause. Straight leg twist. Let's place the right ankle or heel, Achilles tendon, between the big toe and second toe, left hand to the right shoulder. And exhale, let's twist to the left. Inhale back. Twist to the right. Inhale back. Side to side. And then pause. Pause after the third one. Now let's bend up the knees. With the knees bent up. Draw your right knee in and then kick it out long. Point the toes. Pull it in. Point the toes as you stretch out. Flex the ankle as you draw the knee in. It's warming up knee, ankle, and hip joint. And now holding it in, take your strap. What did I do with mine? There it is. And strap the toe mounts with the hands, strapping the toe mounts. So a gentle or friendly tug of war with the toes. And this is for the calf muscles. And like I said, we have two. We have the soleus, only crosses the ankle. So when you bend the knee a little bit, we're just working with the soleus now. Let the hands, when draw the toes down, and then let the toes, when put on that stiletto. Keep the knee bent a little bit, so the calf is the gastroc, the outer, the big one. The chicken breasts are relatively passive, alternating between the toes winning and the hands winning. Now slowly straightening the knee and then repeat. Now we engaged, we took the gastroc into it too. Notice the difference. Does it feel different? So we get a little bit more bang for the buck maybe. Because we are making the gastroc work for it, not a passive stretch. And then let's take the left leg up. Place the right foot down. Again, a wee bit of a bend. And tug of war. Contracting, putting on the stilettos. And releasing. Back and forth. Between the weight of the hands winning and the toes winning. And straightening the knee so that the gastroc now, and we have more sensory information in the gastroc. Can you tell? It's a bigger muscle, for sure. Back and forth. And then let's release. Full body stretch. Take the arms down and then let's roll over onto the belly. Onto the belly. Come all the way down. Release the tops of the feet. Hands down alongside the hips with the hands facing, palms facing your hips. Now let's contract the glutes. There they are. Notice that two things happen. Tailbone pulls down towards your heels. Let's relax again. So the valley of the low back just got a little deeper. Again, contract. And you also tell how the heels are rolling inward towards one another as you contract. Two things we want to have happen when we walk. Let's contract again. Lift the legs, the hands, the heart, the head, lifting up. Squeeze the back seam. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Lift the front of the shoulders. Pull the rhomboids together, the shoulder blades together. Yes. And exhale, lowering down. Everything relaxes. Deep breath in and out. I think that's worth repeating. One more time, starting with the glutes, squeeze them together, feel the heels rolling in, tailbone moving down, lift the leg, lift the heart, lift. Jill, this one's for you. Lifting up into Shavasana, hands down, everything lifts up, everything lifts up. Squeezing in, squeezing in, squeezing in, squeezing in, and exhale, releasing down. Everything relaxes. So Shavasana does both get the glutes on board, get the lengthening in the low back, along with, of course, the upper back. Now let's take the hands under the shoulders for flying serpent. Rolling the shoulders up and down the back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Again, draw the glutes together. Close the crack and let the legs lift, the heart lift, the head lift. But the hands can still take flight, right? Now keep the legs firm as you take the hands down and then lifting up into cobra. The tops of the feet now comes down and you can continue into upward facing dog. Lift the knees to downward facing dog. Draw back. Take your dog for a little walk. And then lifting up on the tiptoes, lifting the heels high, bend the knees, so a hovering puppy pose, a hovering puppy pose. Now slowly straighten the legs, pull the heels back, not down, but back, lengthening the spine. And then exhale. Take the knees down, stretch back to puppy pose. Lengthen the back again. So draw the tailbone back and down. And the hands can be as wide as is comfortable for your shoulders. So being comfortable. Being comfortable. And then inhale up to tabletop. Tabletop. Cat and cow, rounding, draw the tailbone down, lift the lower abdomen. And then inhale, contract the muscles as you're squeezing everything in around the spine. Exhale, pull the belly in and up, creating the rounded back. One more. Arch, one more back extension, shoulder blades are drawing in, everything is coming in around the spine. And then let's come to neutral. Neutral. Take the right leg straight back. Toes are tucked under. With a neutral spine, so keeping the spine neutral. Let's lift the right leg up. Now bend the right knee, bend the right knee. Lift the knee a little higher, so the glutes are firing here. Beautiful thing. Draw, again, lower down so that you're not in extension. So now it's a core work. Glutes are working a little bit, but squeeze the heel all the way into the tush. Bring the heel to the tush. And you're really going to feel the hamstring firing now. Slowly extend the leg out, reaching it out long. Take the toes down. Reach back through the heel, another little calf movement. Press the palms down and forward. And as you do so, belly really engaged and maybe the left knee pulls up a little bit So it's just a hovercraft. Step it back to the right, full plank, and take the left knee down. The lower abdomen supports the lifting of the leg. The glute has to help out. Bend the knee. And then lift the foot a little bit higher. That's again the job of the magnificent glute, the glorious glute. Take it back down to neutral again. Squeeze the heel in as tight to the buns as it will go. And then slowly release, slowly release, slowly release. All the way out. Take the toe mounts down. Press back through the heel. Press the hands down and forward. And again, maybe your right knee begins to float up. So we can step it back for plank again. And back to downward facing dog. Or puppy, or tabletop. Looking up on the in-breath. And walk or step the feet to the front of the mat. Hands to the feet, look up. Hands to the hips. And press all the way up. Here we are. Let's take the block. Tadasana, mountain pose. A pose that we talk about so much that it's easy to forget how integral it is to every pose in the practice. So the block will help educate us a little bit. I'll turn sideways. Look down at your knees, center of the knee tracking out over the second toe. Center of the knee tracking out over the second toe. And that may mean that you need to turn your foot in or out. Now let me say that again. The center of the knee is pointing straight forward, but it may mean, scratch what I just said before. It may mean that it's not drying out over the second toe. It may mean that your feet actually turn in or out more. For the alignment of the knees, because the knees win out over the feet, just like the spine is always going to win out over anything else. Let's lift and spread the toes. Lift and spread the toes. So big toe mount, pressing down. Go to the outer heel and crown to the outer heel. And then the pinky toe mount to the inner heel, or crisscross sandal. So the arches are now fully engaged. So if you know that your arches are getting a little droopy, this is your work to get them back on again. This is your trampoline. Now stretch the toes forward, stretch the toes forward. And then let the big toe come to the ground. Big toe, pad, lowers down with the other four still up. Take the pinky toe pad down. Lift and spread all the toes again. And now stretch 5 toes on each foot, forward, 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 like little curious turtles. And then let them relax onto the floor. Not the arches, just the toes, very soft. And notice that your inner thighs are having a little chat with your block here. So this is us standing in a firm and grounded pose. Let's soften the knees, and get the heels really, really grounded. We want the weight of the body to go down through the heels. And if we wear heels, that's really hard. Now press down through the heels and straighten the legs. Notice how this gives a little bit of a glute engagement. Engaging Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha. So the pelvis lift, the lower abdominal lift, and the low back now is long. Let's inhale, take the arms up, tall mountain. Exhale, take the arms out parallel to the ground, and then bend the knees. Utkatasana, sit the hips way back so the weight stays in the heels. Toes are stretching forward. Squeeze the block, squeeze the block. And then feel the low back. In your mind's eye, does it feel more like you're doing the cow pose, the dipper, or the cat pose? Pull the belly button towards the spine so it feels more like cat pose in the lower back, but lift the arms up to get cow in the upper back. And inhale, standing all the way up. Lifting up on the tiptoes, reaching up. And then bend the knees again. Again, the arms can be out forward if that's more comfortable for your shoulders, or up. Now again, cat in the lower back, cow in the upper. You now begin to really understand the other name of this pose, which is awkward pose. Let's straightening the legs again. And then keep the arms reaching up as you descend the heels. Heels comes down. Back into tall mountain to mountain. Whew. Move the block. And stand sideways on your mat. Fingertips to heart center. And the rules, remember, osteopenia, osteoporosis, you step. If not, it's recommended you jump. Feet wide apart. Take the hands to the hips. Turn the right foot in 10 to 15 degrees. Easy peasy. Now with awareness of your left hip and pelvis juncture, turn your left leg out 90 degrees. Can you keep the pelvis where it is, or does that travel? So go back and forth. Does the pelvis travel out with your thigh bone? So the lubrication may have gotten a little stuck. Now continue to muscularly, externally rotate your left thigh so that the knee points out over the toes, and then bend the knee. Tracking it straight out and straight. Bending and straight. I'll do that one more time and stay. Extend the arms out to the sides. Warrior two. Turn the palms upward. Reaching out through the fingertips as you lift the arms. Breathing. And then eagle. Draw your right arm under the left. Twirl the arms together. Relax the shoulders down, but lift the elbows up, 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 up. Bow the chin to the chest. Sleeping eagle. And now for a little bit balance fun, lift your left heel. Lift the left heel. And then maybe the right, but be careful. Hug that imaginary block between the inner thighs. And let's take the back heel down, front heel down, don't fall. Take the arms back out. And straighten. Utthita Trikonasana. Reach out over your left leg. Take the hand to the shin or knee. Top arm to the sky. Turn the top hand back. Palm turns back. and then wrap it behind the body. Maybe catch the top of your left thigh. So keep moving the shoulder back. Move your shoulder back. Left shin or knee or thigh presses up against the hand. And the hand is meeting it. Breathing. Steady pose and steady breath. Hug the inner thighs together. And let's take the top arm up. Soften your left knee a wee bit and then push all the way up to center. Turn the left foot in. Now you can take your hands back to the hips again because we give that feedback. But you can also feel as you turn the leg out, does the whole pelvis travel with it? Can you turn the leg with the pelvis still staying in a mountain-ish event? Visually check that your knee has turned out all the way. And then bend the knee and straighten the leg. Bend and straighten. And one more time. Bending. And turn the palms up. Reach the fingertips out, 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 out. And then left arm under the right. Twirl the arms together or give yourself a hug. Shoulders down, elbows up. Chin bows towards the chest. Chest stays lifted. Lift and spread the toes. Connect to your feet. And then lift your right heel. And that's a maybe. That's an invitation, not an order. Maybe the left. Hopeful. Hug the thighs together for stability. And let's take the left down, right down. Take the arms out and straighten the right leg. Utthita, extend. So hips draws left, hand reaches right. Take the hand down to your shin or knee and top arm to the sky. So the body here, still in mountain pose. Line left foot, leg, and torso. Let's take the top arm, the palm facing back, and then wrap it behind. And again, maybe the top of the thigh, you roll the shoulder back. Pressing your right shin up into the hand so the calf is engaging. Or knee, or thigh. And breathe. Feeling the four corners of each foot on the job. And bend the knee. And slowly come up. Take the hands to the hips. Roll the shoulders up and down the back. Maybe go a little bit wider for Prasarita. Heels are kicked out, knees are bent, but lift it. Now let's lift the heart and then hinge forward. Take the hands under the shoulders. Under the shoulders. So the feet here, lift and spread the toes. Lift and spread the toes. Big toe mount, check. Little toe mount, check. Inner and outer heels. Down. Maybe walk the hands forward. So the knees are still bent. Knees are still bent. Toes are still lifted. Maybe straightening the knees. Maybe straighten the knees. Keep the hips pulling back, pulling back, pulling back as the hands reaches forward. Kneecaps drawing up, 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 up towards the hips. And walk the hands back. Pivot on your mat as we prepare to travel down onto the back. So you just turn through a lunge, whichever the side you want to go to, as you walk the hands to one end and pivot the feet to the other. Here, you may travel back through a dog, through a wide knee child's pose, or just travel right onto your back, where we all will meet up. And as you come onto your back, bending up the knees. Walking the heels in, close to the hips. Lift and spread the toes. Stretch the big toes forward and towards the midline. Really good for the bunion work. And then the pinky toe forward and away from the midline. So we still got the three dudes in the middle. Let them come down and relax. This pose begins from the feet. Inhaling, press the feet down, lift the hips. Lift the hips. Breathing, lifting. So my arms are right down alongside. Lift the heel. So again, balance. A little easier here than it was in Warrior Two. Now feel how you really close the crack. Keep that up as you lower the heels back down. Lower the heels back down. To help lengthen the lumbar spine in bridge pose. Lifting, 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 and slowly lower all the way down. Now let's take our blankets and the fold that you had in the beginning. If you were sitting, it's going to be just fine. Rounded edge is going to be towards your spine, not your feet. So fringes. So I'm in the hamburger fold, folded across. You can also do the hot dog fold here, perfectly fine. Slide the blankets under your sacrum. So this is a very gentle bridge pose, right? Which then gets us, of course, to our ultimate pose. Draw the right or left knee in. Take the other one with you. But keep the back bend. Keep your tailbone heavy. Straightening the legs from the pretty carney. In the Yoga Hatha Pradipika, which literally means light on yoga, the comments about this pose, like a lot of comments in there, are very unintentionally funny. You should start practicing this pose 1 second a day, 1 second. And then work up to 2 hours daily. 2 hours. And when you get to that point, your wrinkles and your gray hair will disappear. you will regain your youth. So do let me know if you're signing up for that one, and I will document your progress. But it is a powerful pose. It's a full inversion. It helps, supports every system of the body. It is a back bend, so the shoulders are drawing down, the chin stays lifted, the chin stays towards the chest, so the Jalandhara Bandha, the chin lock, is here. Not a huge one. And the heart gets a little break. Lymph is drained. Appetite is stimulated. And let's bend the knees. Draw the legs down. Lift the hips, rolling the blanket down so that they are under the knees. And we have arrived in Shavasana. If your low back feels like it would like a little lengthening out first, I, of course, invite you to hug the knees into the chest. So just take a moment and feel if it feels like there is some jamming in the low back. Can you relax these muscles? And then allow yourself to settle into Shavasana. Take a moment and scan your body. Is there anything you can do to make it even more comfortable? So that Shavasana is Shavasana, complete relaxation, marinating into the practice. Inviting the breath into the belly again. The belly expands and relaxes. Samana Vayu. Samana is our center. And this energy, you can sense it with the breath as you inhale, expanding outward, and as you exhale, it contracts back towards your center. So the inhalation, expansion, let that expansion grow beyond the sensation of the belly, down into the pelvis, up through the heart and lungs, down into the legs and feet, and up to the shoulders and arms. Opening and closing the rhythm of your body, expansion, contraction. We can get stuck in either end, expansion or contraction. If stuck in expansion, our energies just keeps fluffing out, pouring out, no containment. And if stuck in contraction, there is no release. There is no ability to access the energy. So we want both, the yin and the yang. As you expand and contract, is there a part of your body that feels like it's stuck in its own little locked state? Can you invite the breath to that area? If it's hard to connect to the area, it can be helpful to place a hand on it if you can reach comfortably. But the gentle weight of a blanket or sandbag can also facilitate. Where the mind goes, the energy flows. And energy is healing. We cannot strain ourselves well. The relaxation response in the body is where we heal. Through the practice, we increase circulation to every cell in the body, oxygen and nutrients, while removing the waste products. Allow your breath to deepen, wiggling fingers and toes. Bending up your knees. Rock the knees gently from side to side. Rolling all the way over onto one side. Pause for a breath or two. Mind and body connected. And then using your arms and hands to press up into a comfortable seated position. Bringing the palms together at heart center. We'll close with the chant for peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Om. The chant that invites peace in our world, in our life, and in our heart. And when we feel ungrounded and anxious, this is a powerful chant to invoke. Please join me. Just take a deep breath in. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Om. And exhale and bow your head towards your heart, towards your legs, your magnificent vessel. Gratitude towards the vessel and all that it affords. Let's draw the gaze up. Namaste. And I shall stop the recording and invite you to unmute for questions,